Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Travel Lifestyle Podcast, joining you from Ipanema Beach, Rio de Janeiro. Today I'd like to introduce you to my new friend Natalie Morales, who you might recognise from the Today Show, which broadcasts in the US. Natalie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I've never done it this way. Bon dia. I've never done this before, the little webcast.
Yeah, this is the way of the future.
It is. It absolutely is. It's very cool to see.
Natalie, your mother's Brazilian.
Yes.
Your dad's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
And you were born in
Taiwan. My father was in the service, the Air Force, and we were stationed in Taiwan. Well, he was. I wasn't born yet. He was stationed in Taiwan during the Vietnam War, and just happened to be lucky enough to be born there. It was a beautiful country. My mom says it's one of her favorite places that she's lived.
Yeah, your father was a U.S. citizen when you were born.
Yes,
right, okay.
yes.
And that took you a few different places, right?
Yes, we lived, as I said, I was born in Taiwan, and I've lived in Panama. I lived here in Brazil and Rio, and that's when I was 7 to 10 years old. Lived in Spain. I've been able to really, grow up around the world, which I think is what made me go into the field, the journalism industry, because it was really about, it opened my eyes at an early age, and I really wanted to have that opportunity to continue. In a way, it's a world education doing what we do.
Yeah. And how would you say that your travel experience as a child influenced your life or your perception of life? I mean, not many people get an opportunity to.
Well, it opened my eyes, and I think, having that awareness at an early age, that seeing conditions, for example, when I lived here in Rio, you saw the huge disparity between rich and poor, and the favelas, and how much, they're all around 800 favelas surround this city. So, that, and seeing some of the history of the places that I've lived. When I lived here, it was under military control, and now it's a complete democracy with a female president, so a very progressive, modern country, and enjoying incredible boom times. So, I think I was lucky to see it at a certain point in my life where things were just beginning here for Rio, and so now it's hotter than ever.
Places totally changed.
The place
Would you say
changed.
the life has changed for people here, like everyday life? I mean, the politics of the government has changed.
Yes, I mean, I think everybody is optimistic and hopeful that I've spoken with here in Rio that things are getting better. Okay. There's still an ongoing huge problem of crime and violence, much more than any city in a progressive democratic country, as you would expect. So police are often corrupt, but they're starting these pacification programs here in the favelas, the slums that surround the towns, and the federal government has been really cracking down and very involved with trying to build a community there and give to the people in those communities where it's needed most, and that's been helpful in
it's an
breaking the
problem,
cycle,
right?
And the key is to really breaking the cycle.
Right. Yeah.
So.
I read that some of the police are too scared to go in some of the flowers, right? So
some you can't go in. Some are completely pacified, as they say here in Rio. So it's a real interesting study to see how they're able to pacify these shanty towns, but it's an ongoing problem. But I've spoken to government officials here, and they assure me that in time for the World Cup and the Olympics, that Rio is going to be ready to show the world all it's got.
Yeah, and it's got a lot to offer.
It does have a lot to offer. It is.
So
it's an incredible place.
Let's talk about more positive things.
Yes.
Tell me coming back to Rio, where were you as a child?
We lived in, where was I here in Rio? We lived not far from here. Yes,
okay,
we were in Rio, not far from Ipanema Beach and Lagoa.
What memories come back when you
memories that come back? Great memories along this beach here. This was my playground every weekend.
Wow.
We were on the beach. When you grow up with the beach right downtown like this, you enjoy it all the time.
I
and
know
especially
exactly what you're talking
living
about.
Living too close. Yeah,
you can't get away from
it. You can't get away.
I was just saying, right?
It is, and probably you'll find some beautiful Brazilian woman and end up marrying them. That's what happened to my dad. So.
You know what? I think there are a lot more.
There's a lot of stories
around in Rio. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, believe me, the surfers right over there, not bad.
All right. I can edit that out if necessary.
Fine. Okay.
No, just teasing. Yeah, I'm also interested to hear about Panama. You spent time in Panama as a child and Spain. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone hears a lot about Spain. We kind of know about Spanish culture, but I know nothing about Panama. So
Panama was interesting because I also lived there at a time of a lot of change. Back then, it was when the Canal Zone was still open. So the U.S. it was all about trade in that area, and it was a country that was pretty much controlled in a way at that point by the U.S. government that was occupying.
How about the people? How about the
people?
The music, food.
Yeah, it's interesting because I went back to Panama for our show years ago, and it's interesting to see how much it's become a little bit like new Miami. It's really, there's the old Panama City and there's the new part of Panama, and new Panama is beautiful skyscrapers, high rises, and great hotels. It's all about ecotourism, and there's a real understanding that the dollar is still the currency. Even though that they do have the peso as well, but they all function. It's very much of a friendly country to U.S. citizens, so it's a great place to visit, and beautiful jungles, lakes everywhere, the ocean, beautiful beaches, great boating. I did a lot of fishing with my dad then, and you can do some real deep sea fishing, get some really cool stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. A few more quick questions. Let's see your traveling experience as a child. How about as an adult? Your work, it's taking you to Rio. You get to travel a lot, right?
Right, I travel a lot. I'm going to London next week for the royal wedding, so that's my next big gig.
If you could choose any place to be right now, say for a week,
how could you beat this? I'm
go?
enjoying the sun, and this is work. It's been a lot of work, but as it always is, we fly in, we do our thing, and usually it's get on the next plane out and go home.
Okay.
But I have to say, I love Latin American culture so much, South American culture. Being here, I know I have to come back. It's going to be much sooner than the 30 years that it took me to get back here. So, but I want to get to know all of the other parts of Latin and South America a little bit better.
Okay, great.
I think I'm having to end up.
All right.
Okay.
Last quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Last quick question.
Yes.
What's your best marathon time? She's run 5 marathons.
I run 5 marathons.
That's impressive.
I do
right?
triathlons.
Yeah.
My best marathon time was 3:31. 3 hours 31. I missed 3:30 was my goal.
Yeah.
I missed it by a minute.
Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Pain and agony. So,
Yes.
yeah. Muito obrigado.
Muito obrigada para você também.
Yeah. It was great to talk to you.
Bom,
and,
até logo e que viajem com muito cuidado.
Muito no
Cuidado. Just be careful. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Travel safely.
Cool. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the website travel.getsunburnt.com and subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, just click the subscribe button up here, or wherever it is. That's the one. And we'll see you next time. Ciao, chicos.
Ciao. Ciao. Good job.